theorysabers.com.
As young as I can remember, I was always into movies. I always loved movies, and Star Wars for me was one that my parents always talked about, even before I saw it when I was a kid. And so when I actually did see it, I was immediately in love. This character of Luke Skywalker, he didn't know where he belongs. He was confused about everything. The world was just too big. The galaxy was too big for him. And I feel like that really resonated with me, especially as a 6-year-old. Everything is just huge. This world, where do you belong? What's your path? And that image of him looking out to the twin suns was just such a monumental moment for me as a kid, because I'm like, this guy gets it. This guy's me. This guy's going through what I'm going through. And it's funny, no matter how old you get, that moment is timeless, because there's always a moment in your life where you don't know the path. We don't all have the answers. And I think that's something that George Lucas did amazingly with his films, with Star Wars in particular, was he was able to make the audience, the person watching, feel so connected to it. And so when I was 6 years old, or around that time in 1996, when my parents showed Star Wars to me for the first time, I connected with that character, and I connected with my dad and my mom. And then, going a little older, I wasn't really popular at all. I didn't have many friends at all. And so Star Wars for me was a really special thing. It was a place I could escape to and have fun and see myself in a different light. And when times would get tough in life, I would think, what would Luke Skywalker do in this situation? What would my heroes, my favorite characters do in these particular situations in life? And I feel like it's so important with storytelling to make the youngster or the person feel that character and all of the things that they go through and their trials and tribulations and failures. And I think that was something that George did really well with Star Wars, was that Luke failed. He failed many times in A New Hope, in The Empire Strikes Back. And then, once he faced his failures and really trained hard, he came back in Return of the Jedi, stoic, in control, in command. Maybe not of the scenario of the situation, but in control of himself and his emotions. And that's something that I really wanted to learn as I got older and older, to be kind of like Luke. And then we get into the prequel trilogy and we start to see more of Anakin Skywalker, and how it's just like this dude is just rampant with emotions, and it makes him powerful, it makes him strong, makes him focused. But at the same time, it's his downfall if he doesn't control them when he needs to and rein them in, reel them in. And so for me, I was like, no, now I am Anakin Skywalker. Because this guy, I was entering my teenage years. I was 9 years old when I saw episode 1. And then in 2002, I was 12 years old. I saw Attack of the Clones. And that's when Anakin you start to see his emotions. Then by the time I was 15, Revenge of the Sith came out. Forget about it. Different story. I thought I was him. I'm him. And for me, it was just, showing the story of this character who goes through so much and has gone through so much and has been so treated so poorly by people, by, Watto and the Hutts, and which, in the beginning, in lore, whatever, then by the Jedi. And it was just so kind of poetic and sad to see how this character went through all of that, and in the end, couldn't save his mother, the Jedi's fault, couldn't save his wife, his own fault, and the manipulation, he's just caught in between of everything. He just needs a friend at the end of the day. He needed Qui-Gon Jinn. And so it teaches you so many different things. Be careful who you trust. Don't be so emotional with things. Don't run rampant with your anger and your emotions. And the importance of a father figure. The importance of that one role model in your life who will be that pillar of strength. And that pillar of strength for me, my life, was Star Wars. I had a few others, of course, my father and mother, family values. But when it came to movies and characters that I could look up to, I didn't have older brothers. I didn't have brothers. I didn't have sisters. I was an only child. I would look to some of these characters in movies, and in this case, Star Wars in particular, as like a form of structure, someone to look up to. What would I do? What would this person do if they were in my shoes in these scenarios, in these situations? And it was really a safe haven for me growing up. Kept me out of trouble for the most part. And I really attribute a lot of my upbringing and general way of viewing things because of how George wrote Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker. And the whole story of how it came full circle in the end, that, if you do go down these paths, forever will it dominate your destiny. Yeah, maybe in the beginning it looks like this is the right way to go, but, hatred, anger, jealousy, envy, these are not the Jedi way. These are not the way that I wouldn't say should or shouldn't lead your life. That's for you to choose. But it's telling the audience, if you go down this path, that's not gonna, this is where it could end you. This is where you'll end up. And that's when Luke looked at his hand when he struck down his father. And he's like, this is going to lead me exactly right there. And the whole thing is just so poetic. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And so for me, I think Star Wars is just, it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable story. It's so sacred, so important. And I think timeless storytelling like that is unfortunately a thing of the past, but I hope it'll come back. And if not, we the fans have to bring it back with our own stories. Long live George Lucas and good storytelling and Star Wars.